Let's hear him. This is Alan, everybody.
Oh, excuse me, we were there. I need a drink after that one. I mean, just water. That's all. All right. Ooh, man, this is a beautiful place. I tell you, this has been a really nice weekend. We were in California last night in a beautiful venue, very similar to this. And so I love when we get to perform in places like this. I mean, we do a lot of churches, which is great. You know, we've done arena tours and things with different acts, but this is like my favorite size because it's just, you can be in a beautiful theater like this, but it still feels really intimate, you know? This just feels like a big living room to me. You know, it's like I'm playing and singing for you in my living room, and y'all are, it's just a big living room. But what also, too, is beautiful is, this is the second night in a row I got to play on a Steinway. I tell you, I grew up, I was born in 1970. So I grew up in the 80s and all, but we didn't have electric keyboards yet, really, until about in the 80s when we started, getting little dinky kind of ones, But so I'm a piano player. I grew up on the piano, and a lot of churches back in the States, and maybe the same up here, a lot of churches are getting rid of their pianos. So it's just, they're moving to keyboards, and I understand there's some practical reasons for that, but man, when you get an actual real piano like this that you can just dig in on, there is nothing like it. Love it. In fact, that reminds me, this is our 17th year. We've been doing this almost 20 years now. So this is our 17th year, but when we first started, we were up in Detroit, actually. We did a concert up there for this sweet little church. And so we walked in, and I looked up on the platform, didn't see a piano. I was like, well, that's okay. A lot of churches, we've worked with plenty of keyboards. So I saw this little keyboard, went up there. For those of y'all who don't know, the piano has 88 keys, and I like to use all of them. So we get up there, and I look at this little keyboard. Instead of 88, this thing had 8. Tiny, tiny, tiny. I was like, okay, this is going to be a challenge. I was like, all right, but we'll make do. So the other thing that's really important on a piano is the pedal here. I mean, the pedal on the right is called the damper pedal or the sustain pedal. And it lets you hold all these nice notes and chords. And if you do slow songs, especially, or a really tender song, you really need that pedal. So I asked the music minister, I said, hey, can you tell me where the pedal is for this keyboard? And he looked at me and goes, pedal? I was like, what? And I was like, oh boy. So I kind of had to make up my own sustain pattern for our slow songs, which was kind of like this, which actually ended up kind of sounding like the Rose. Some say love, it is a river. We were doing like, what a friend. I mean, everybody's sitting where you all are. I'm sure they were looking at us thinking, these people have a record deal? This? We paid to see this? So, that was a tough little night. But it ended up being really sweet. They were sweet, sweet people. We ended up having just a really sweet time. But man, I hadn't heard the Rose in a while. In fact, this also too, I was just looking around when we were here earlier. This is much prettier, but this is the layout of kind of almost the same auditorium layout of my high school back home. I grew up in, you can tell from my accent I'm not from around these here parts, right? I grew up in East Tennessee, right outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. And I tell you what, it is gorgeous here, like flying in, and I mean, I love every time we get to come over to Vancouver and even in the States, like the Pacific Northwest and all of this. Incredible. But have any of y'all been down to Tennessee? I live in the Smoky Mountains. So the Smoky Mountains, the Appalachian Mountains down in East Tennessee are also extremely beautiful. I love the variety. Like this is a totally different beauty than the kind at home. And I just love that God has made our world so beautiful for us to enjoy and see. And but if y'all been down my way, it's just a beautiful place. But so I grew up right outside of Knoxville, right there at kind of the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. And my high school auditorium is designed almost the same way. But yeah, just thinking of the roads just made me think also, I'm an 80s kid. I was born in 1970, but my teenage years I was growing up in the 80s. So maybe 80s. So this stage, you know, I would be in 80s bands at school, you know, doing all that weird stuff with your hair, you know, getting to stand up in a triangle, things I shouldn't be able to do. And, you know, we would do stuff like, we'd get on stage and play for our school, and we'd do stuff like, oh yeah. Or, you know, like I would do, I'd try to get a date or two by playing a sweet little ballad, like, how about this one?
Fun to be able to play whatever.
Now this one, for a piano player, this was probably the one song of the 80s. This was 1983, I think. I was 13 years old. And let's see if you remember this. Was this a big hit up here as it was in the States? I'm sure about that. Turn around every now and then, get a little bit lonely. We'll stop right there. But I love that song. That was just a great era. All the kids in here going, what's he playing? What's he playing? I'm like, all I gotta say is you missed the greatest decade of music. You missed the 80s. Now my dad would disagree. When he hears me playing songs like that, he's like, come on, play some real stuff. I'm 44, Dad is 74. So he was coming up, you know, he was born in 1940, so his teenage years were the 50s. So like he saw Elvis Presley and Ed Sullivan. I mean, great music. So when Dad was like, come on, play me something good, I was like, you mean maybe something like... But what I love is I wish I could have been around back then. I maybe could have made a good living. It's just like 5 chords, I think. Most of the songs, you know, they're all even the fast ones you do. You know, it didn't matter. So, and that's neither here nor there. That's nothing about what I'm going to sing either. I'm following Amy's pattern, just chattering. I thought I'd just invite you in here, and there's no telling. Like I said, y'all feel like family. This is like a living room, and just, you know, we're just friends talking. But I thought I would bring you up a little song, since I'm from the South, from East Tennessee. I thought I'd bring up a song from that region. One of the greatest, most sweetest memories I have in our 17-year career, we did a Christmas album in 2002 called Rose of Bethlehem, which is one of my favorite albums that we have ever done. And one of the songs we did on there was called Once Upon a Christmas, and it was written by Dolly Parton. Now, Dolly grew up 1 county over from me. And as a kid growing up in East Tennessee, you can't get away from Dolly. You know, she's done so much for the area, poured so much back in with medical care and education. And so, you know, she's our hometown girl that made good, and we all love her dearly. And I've always hoped her music, since I was a child, had always spoken to me. And when I moved to Nashville, I left home at 18. I'm the only one in my family that does music. I knew that just in my heart, I felt that God had given me a gift of music, and I wanted to help people with it somehow. I didn't know what form that would take. But, so I'm the only one in my family that does music. It was very hard for my parents to understand when I moved away at 18 to move to Nashville to pursue my dream of making it in music and helping people. So they weren't exactly encouraging, to say the least. So you have to, you know, but I could just feel in my heart, and I really prayed and examined it to be sure it wasn't my own desire, but it felt like the Lord was saying, take this step of faith. I know you're leaving everything and everyone you know, and everything that's safe, but just take this step, and let's go. And so I left home at 18 and moved to Nashville right after high school. Dolly did the same thing. She graduated on a Friday night, and on Saturday morning she was on the bus to Nashville to go, and she left everything she knew too. And so that had always encouraged me. And when I moved to Nashville, I was always hoping I'd run into her at the Walmart or something. And it never happened. But when it came time for this Christmas album, I just asked our producer, I said, you know, could we just, I said, let me do a little arrangement of it. Let's send it to her. Let's just see if she'll come sing with us. And so I did a little cassette arrangement. Kids, you can ask your parents what cassette is. So we sent it off to her folks. And And about a month later, we got the call and they said, Dolly loves what you've done with her song, and she loves. We'd send her too some of our music just so she wouldn't think we were just crackpots saying, "Hey, come sing with us," you know. So we sent her some of our first two albums, and they came back and they said, you know, Dolly loves how y'all sound and what you stand for, and she would love to come sing with you. So I got to do the duet with Dolly on the Christmas song, which was so sweet. But I told her that morning. And she's just like what you see on television or in the movies, as sweet and kind as could be. And I told her that morning that I sing this song I'm about to sing for you. And she was really touched by that. It's her favorite song out of all the ones she's written, and she's written incredible songs. This is her very favorite one because it's a true story that happened to her. And she wrote it for her mom and about her mom. And, you know, when she says they had nothing growing up, they had nothing. She knows what it is to know complete want, to have nothing. And then she knows what it is for money to be no object. But she said she wrote this song because she said, you know, being poor is not about the monetary value. She said, poor is a state of mind. And she said, we were broke, but I was never poor. She said, I knew God had given me a gift, music, and I knew he would get me out of those mountains and out of that crushing poverty. And I love this song. It's a true story song. And it always encouraged me as a kid, and I hope it just speaks to your heart too, and maybe it'll make you think